And welcome to the Gooner Talk. Back in with you guys for another show, for another episode of our Raw Reaction series, a show in which we basically react to the latest Arsenal news. Now, I didn't think that this could get any weirder as a transfer window. I really didn't. I didn't think that we could go any weirder than seeing Nicolas Pepe, who we really hadn't been linked to for weeks, came out of nowhere, we signed him. I didn't think that we would get linked to plenty of players. I didn't think we'd still be linked to Wilfried Zaha after signing Nicolas Pepe, but we were. And now we're being linked to Philippe Coutinho from Barcelona. It's a really, really odd situation. Obviously, I did a Raw reaction video basically reacting to the Wilfried Zaha news when we were supposedly still in for him after signing Pepe. And I feel like this has got a very similar atmosphere about it. I feel that this deal is very much, at the moment, a pipe dream and something that we can cross our fingers for, if you even want to cross your fingers for Philippe Coutinho. But it's just a really odd situation to be in. Obviously, Arsenal play Barcelona on Sunday in a friendly, and the rumours is that Raul Sanllehi, who of course used to work at Barcelona and therefore has very good contacts at Barcelona, and supposedly that means that he is now basically identified Philippe Coutinho as a possible financially viable target, because of course it would be a loan deal. Now, there are rumours that a loan fee would be in the region of about 20 million euros per year. There's rumours that it could be a 2-year loan deal with an obligation to buy at the end of those 2 years. There's rumours that it could just be a single season loan, in which we pay off the deal for Liverpool. Obviously, Barcelona owe Liverpool a lot of money, and it would basically be us covering the fee for that year. There are several reasons. Let's talk about the argument for signing Coutinho before we go into the other side. First one, it would annoy the hell out of Liverpool. Absolutely annoy the hell out of Liverpool. And I mean, that in itself is quite a big reason too. Second of all is that obviously at Barcelona, Coutinho came in and was supposed to be this guy that was going to replace Neymar effectively. They also signed Dembele as well, who was basically, the two of them together were there to try and fill the gap, the void left by Neymar going to PSG. And whilst that's great, he hasn't really been able to kick on and do what he did at Liverpool, in which got him this mega £100 million move to Barcelona. It just didn't happen. Coutinho wasn't able to play in the same sort of freedom and system as he was at Liverpool. He wasn't able to do the same amount of damage, but that's not to disregard his quality whatsoever. Coutinho is still a very, very, very good player. He's shown that in his performances for Brazil. He's shown that in the performances that he has done for Barcelona, but he hasn't shown it in the same capacity from when he was at Liverpool. He's still a very capable player who can play in multiple positions. He can play on the left wing. He can play as a centre attacking midfielder. He can play as even a centre midfielder at times, but it's not really something where I would certainly place him. It's just a very odd one to be linked to, because obviously we brought in Dani Ceballos from Real Madrid, who is very much a centre midfielder, attacking midfielder type player. We brought in Nicolas Pepe, which meant that we'd assume that Aubameyang would be forced out to that left-hand side. And now bringing in Coutinho sort of means that the left wing slot is where I would probably play him. And I think you would then rotate between Lacazette and Aubameyang. You'd get a lot of attacking verve in that front line. Some people have suggested going to a 4-4-2 and playing Coutinho at left mid, which I find extremely strange. I just don't think he provides you enough of the running up and down the wing to be able to play a left mid role in a 4-4-2, similar to that of Pepe. And I just don't think that if we were going to sign him, he'd be playing in a front three that contained either one of Aubameyang or Lacazette, with Pepe on the right wing. It's really odd. There's also the option to play him at number 10, as I've already mentioned. That would probably mean that Ozil would hardly get a game, because you'd think that Coutinho would be prioritised over Ozil, considering we'd have him on a 2-year loan deal with an obligation to buy at the end of it. You'd want to get as many minutes out of Coutinho as possible. Why would Coutinho want to leave Barcelona, a team where he has struggled for minutes at times, to a team where possibly he could struggle for minutes again? It would make absolutely no sense whatsoever. So I think that rules that one out. In terms of, though, the actual realistic, or the likelihood of a deal at the moment, I'm giving this a solid 5 out of 10. I'm right in the middle. If you'd asked me before the Pepe signing and this exact same rumour at the exact same time came up, I would have said about a 2 out of 10, easy. But just because of how this transfer window has gone and how the confidence in the fans, basically because of what Raul Sanllehi has done, I'm willing to give it a few more ratings of likelihood just because of how crazy this transfer window is. I find it insane that we ended up getting Pepe in the first place, and I find it insane that we're being linked with other players across the league. But obviously, that's my thoughts on Coutinho. Let's see what some of you guys think. I'm going to scroll right to the top where I know you guys have been reacting. Thank you for tuning in. Phil Teckle is very much loving this. Liam Goff says Coutinho ain't coming, bro. It's Liverpool or City. Anakin says I'll take him over Ozil or Mkhitaryan. Paul McDermott says, seriously worried we're going into the new season with Mustafi as our centre-back. Yeah, we'll talk about defenders in a second. Liam Goff says Coutinho is not coming. Where else are we doing? Operum Fellum says defenders needed, please. Tyrone Irving says attack more to defend better. Pascal Perot says morning, can't see it to be honest, but if it happens, Raul will build a statue outside the Emirates. Yeah, let's talk about the Raul thing for a second then. I just think in terms of Raul Sanllehi, he's come in terms of when Wenger was here, Wenger didn't even know what a director of football was. Obviously, he's not the director of football, he's a head of football, which you couldn't argue is different, but it's a fairly similar role. We obviously got in Edu as well to be our technical director. And just the fact that we've got that team together now has really gone to show people that things have started to move. Cogs have started to turn. Deals are starting to get done. Conversations are going on. We've got Hus Fahmy, who's obviously the contract negotiator as well, who goes in after Raul Sanllehi has sort of broken down the walls, as it were, and to get those deals over the line. But actually having people having different jobs and being able to go out there and do the thing means that we can have a head coach who focuses on the football. Raul Sanllehi can focus on making contacts and getting contact with clubs about players. As Fahmy can get the deals done, and Edu, the technical director, can sort of pull all those strings together and have an influence on both the team and on those signings. And so you've got so many people now in different roles. It means that the efficiency of Arsenal's dealings in the transfer window has improved massively. It means we've no longer got someone at the helm who's second guessing themselves in terms of the transfers that we're going for. And now we've got people in place that can collaborate and discuss and either veto things together, or they can all go out and for one cause and say, we want Coutinho, we want Pepe, we want Saliba, whatever, and they go and get the deal done. Machiavelli A.F.C. says, if we sign Coutinho and Tierney and a centre-back, could we at least challenge for the title, or do we need a summer transfer winner? Yeah, see, I was thinking about this. I was thinking if you put a team together where Coutinho's in, Pepe's in, Tierney we get a centre-back, you've now got a team that's got a much stronger chance of, I don't want to say going for the title, because I just think that is still a season or two off. And obviously Vinay came out and said himself as our commercial director that even he doesn't think that we'll go for the title this season. It's just because Manchester City are so strong. Obviously Liverpool had a really poor pre-season. Obviously lost to Sevilla. I've watched a couple of their other games and they didn't look too strong. I don't know why that is. It might just be a hangover from the Champions League and from certain players playing in the African Cup of Nations like Mane and Salah, and obviously Firmino's at the Copa America. So it might be because of that. I still think that you can't underestimate Liverpool whatsoever. They're a fantastic team with a great manager and a great system. But in terms of the other teams, Chelsea, United, those lot down the road, you've also got like Everton coming into the mix. You've got Wolves and Leicester who obviously look very strong. This season could be arguably one of the strongest Premier League seasons in terms of quality, the most competitive we've seen so far. Manchester City, it goes to show obviously that when people talk about Man City, Liverpool could go a season unbeaten, you look at the quality of the other teams in the league now, it would be an absolutely ridiculous achievement for anyone to do it. So I think that they'll find it a lot harder. I don't think they'll come to the same sort of points totals that they have been doing over the last couple of seasons. I think the teams in the league are getting much stronger. I think Arsenal are now going in a new direction, which is great. Obviously Chelsea have gone more to the side of becoming a more, I don't want to say historic because they don't have too much history, but you know what I mean? They're trying to get that nostalgic feel about the club by bringing in former players like Coutinho, Makelele, obviously Lampard as manager, Petr Cech going from us there to be higher up in the football club. There's plenty of things going on there which they're trying to make more synonymous with what they have had in the past. Manchester United are always just seemingly Manchester United and just seemingly do stupid things or don't get deals done. The whole Lukaku Dybala thing is dragging on. Harry Maguire for £80 million seems insane to me. I mean, he's not worth that. He's being asked for that much because Leicester don't have to sell. It's as simple as that. So the reason why he's going for that much is just because that's what the market's like. He's not that. He's a £40 million player, if that, in my opinion. I don't think he's any better. You look at these stats compared to Mustafi, and Mustafi actually outweighs him. Let's see what some of you other guys are saying. Mohammed says, so I reckon that's not real, but sure would be a great player to have. 100% mate, agree. Citrino Get, I'm assuming that's a German word, says El Neni plus 50 million for Issa Diop. Thoughts? Yeah, Issa Diop had a fantastic season at West Ham last year. Obviously, French centre back, really, really good. But I'm not sure if we would actually go in for him or not. But I would definitely be interested in a signing. Chris KR7 says, whatever the team, the system also matters. What system Unai plays is important, extremely important. You could have the best players in each position, but if you haven't got a system that works, you're never going to get it working. Yonic Max says Jonathan Tah isn't even that good. Interesting. A lot of people are saying Jonathan Tah. I know that Drew, our German expert, loves Jonathan Tah. A lot of what he's doing at Bayer Leverkusen. Bancoli says Coutinho would be better next season. Possibly. Obviously, we're losing Sabas after a year-long loan. Liam Goff says Emery just needs right wing, centre mid, centre back, and left back, and then Raul finds the best ones in each position. Yeah, I think I'm still really concerned about the centre back situation. I'm still not sure whether we're going to be able to get him in or not. If we can, great. But if we can't, I think that we will only be competing for that top 4 spot, and it will still be a long struggle and a long push to get to that top 4 position. If we get a centre back in, well, who knows? If we can get a quality one in, maybe even it could transform us. If you look at Virgil van Dijk and the impact it had on Liverpool, I mean, you're looking at that sort of transformation. We need to sign someone who's going to transform that back line. Is it Issa Diop? I'm not sure. Is it Armando Izzo? I'm not sure. I don't think the same sort of impact players that Virgil van Dijk would have. If it was a Kalidou Koulibaly, possibly, but I don't see us going out. If it was a Deo Upamecano, possibly. But again, I'm not sure if we'll go out and spend the money needed to get those players. Where are we at now? Philip Nass says, I agree, such huge boy for that. Yeah. Salah says, can we sign another big centre-back in the remaining time? As I said, I'm really not sure. Liam Goss says, Ozil on his day is untouchable. He plays unless he leaves. The thing with Ozil this season is that I liked what I saw in pre-season of him. I liked it. If we signed Coutinho, which is the whole reason we're doing this video, obviously I just think that those two would clash. Coutinho can play at left wing, of course. But in terms of where he would fit in, that would mean that one of either Lacazette or Aubameyang would be rotated, or even Pepe, with Aubameyang being pushed out to the right wing. But if we get him in, basically, I'm not against the deal at all, because there's nothing wrong with bringing someone like that quality on loan in for a season or two, possibly even with that obligation to buy at the end of it. You bring someone in with that amount of quality who's going to add to the team, give you more options, more rotation. We've got to play in multiple competitions. We want to win trophies. We want to be going for the FA Cup. People disregard the FA Cup. Even the League Cup, people disregard it. But we need to be fighting on as many possible fronts as we can. And so to bring in as much quality in an attacking sense, and especially that defensive area as well, I am going to complain about. So that's fair enough. Krish K7 says, Tierney can have the impact at the left-hand side, definitely. Since 1930 says, are you serious? Coutinho to Arsenal? Yeah, that is the rumour, mate. Thorium says, where is Smith Rowe? He's still recovering from an injury. That's why you've not seen Smith Rowe. Robbie G says, please analyse our first 5 games. Pepe, great. In terms of analysis of the first 5 games, for those that have tuned in late or are new to the channel, the tactical breakdowns that we do, I did announce the other day that we've sorted our team for the whole of the Gooner Talk. Obviously, you will be seeing debutants and people appearing throughout the year you may have seen before, may not. But the main team that we're going for next season, in terms of tactical breakdowns for the games, myself, Graham Brooks, who you know from same old Arsenal and AFTV, and then Drew, obviously you know as FM Lera on Twitter, big writer, loves his tactics, loves everything. That's why his logo is all about tactics. So those two will be making up the team. And then in terms of the podcast, you've got the 2 American boys from the Gooners podcast, Mike and Andy, who obviously were in the room with Josh Kroenke for that interview. You've got the other American, our good pal John from Miami. We've got Ola, we've got Wayne, we've got Lee Judges, we've got Kenny Ken. We've got plenty of people that are here to entertain you throughout the season in terms of the weekly podcast. So that will all be there for you every Sunday, I assume, unless there's a game that's in the way. But every Sunday we'll have that weekly podcast, and those guys will be here to give you their thoughts and their updates. And of course, it'll be live. Google Hangouts is going, but we've managed to find a new stream situation for you guys, which looks a lot better, more professional. So hopefully you'll enjoy that moving through. Let's look a few more through these comments then. Bancoli Martin says, first 5 games, I think we will struggle unless we get Tierney and 2 centre-backs. Yeah, I think that if we don't get in a centre-back, obviously Tierney is a must for me. Tierney, if we have to get Tierney in, we've been on him for so long. If we don't get him, it'd be a waste of time and resources when we could have been looking at someone else. Yonic Max says, how are you feeling about us letting Bielik go? Obviously, I'm disappointed that he's gone because I really like what I saw of him, of course. I think that he did a lot for Charlton last season. I was there at the playoff final for Charlton and watched him have a man of the match performance, and I was gutted to see him go. But what's good about it is that we've got a £10 million deal, 7.5 rising to 10 million in terms of add-ons, and I think that's a really, really good amount of money that Arsenal have got from the Christian Bielik deal, and so therefore I'm quite happy about that. Benema says Ozil can be a good player at home, but he does not replicate that in away matches. Therefore, if Coutinho comes in, they can play alternatively. Yeah, it's a good point. Obviously, Ozil doesn't really play consistently enough at a high level, especially in those away games, be that big games or the smaller games as well. We didn't see him play against Bournemouth, for instance, because Emery just didn't trust him in that way in away games. So giving yourself more options for those away games is really going to be key. Tyrone says, any news on Kosh? I'm assuming you mean Koscielny. No, apparently Rennes have rekindled their interest. Bordeaux are still interested for him. It's just whether they can get a deal done before the end of the transfer window. Arsenal are going to try and get any money they can. They're not fussed about letting him rot in the reserves, I don't think, because of how he's acted. And so therefore, any sort of deal that happens will mean that Arsenal would hopefully get some money for it. Hasala says, will other teams pay Ozil's 350k a week contract if we give him on a 3? I still highly doubt that we would. Yonic Max says, Dunk for 35 million and Rugani on loan. We're set. I don't think Rugani will leave. I think Juventus is going to hold firm on Rugani because of the injury to Chiellini. Jason Holt says, if we get Tierney, he won't play for a while while he's still injured. Yep, and I think Kolasinac has been doing quite well. Monreal's been doing decent at left back as well, so I think we're covered there. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Henry says, Coutinho, are you kidding me? Yeah, that was my reaction when I read the stories, mate. Carol says, no way to Coutinho. We have Willett that deserves his chance. Was excellent in pre-season game. I hope we buy Tierney and centre-back because they are needed badly. 100% they are definitely needed badly. Interesting point about Willett. If you actually watch the video I did on the predicted lineup for the first game of the season against Newcastle, I'm going to do another one much closer to the time with a preview. I'm hoping basically throughout the season you'll get previews with a Q&A style of me talking to someone who's a journalist of that specific team. That's the aim. Whether it comes to fruition, of course, is another thing, but we'll have to see. But yeah, in terms of Joe Willock, I put him in my starting lineup for that game. I think that in terms of Torreira coming back, he's just come back from obviously playing for the Copa America. We're not sure if he's going to be match fit to start. We've got other players in that team. Sabas has just come in on loan. Whether he starts or not, we're not sure. And so therefore, playing Joe Willock, I think, who's had a fantastic pre-season, start him on a high, get him playing, I think that's an absolutely perfect opportunity. I want to talk a little bit, actually, because what's their face? Newcastle have signed a couple of players. They signed Saint-Maximin from Nice, and they've signed Jetro Willems from, I believe it was Frankfurt, PSV, former PSV left back international for Netherlands. Speaking to Jeremy Smith, I texted him immediately, our French football correspondent. I texted him immediately saying, what's your thoughts on Maximin? And he's not convinced by him at all. He doesn't impress him. His attitude is fallen. He's not got a good attitude at all. He's basically said that he's a French Theo Walcott. He hasn't really got a footballing brain. He's just got a lot of pace. So I wouldn't get too concerned about him at the moment. Of course, that means he'll go and score against us on the first day, of course. But Jetro Willems is actually a decent signing on loan. It's a very, 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 very good backup or even starter for their left-back side. So it's going to be interesting to see how they fare for Newcastle this season. A couple more and then we'll end things off. Bancoli says, can anyone name 3 good centre-backs for less than 20 million? It's a really hard question because the market at the moment demands that players are going for way more than their market value. So to say you want good ones for 20 million is a little bit far off the mark. If you said 30 million, you might be able to find a few more like Izzo or Zagadou, for instance, but I doubt 20 million you'll be able to find anyone who's going to do a job for that amount of money. Praveen says, why only Coutinho? We should sign Zaha and Everton Suarez as well. Yeah, we just want everything like it's Christmas, don't we? We just want as many players as we possibly feasibly can in this team. Manos says, Nathan Ake, yeah, decent shout. Not sure Bournemouth would sell on the cheap, though. I think it would cost a lot of money, Premier League experience and everything. I'm going to finish things off there. Thank you ever so much for tuning in, people. Over nearly 500 of you watching live. Please like the video if you've enjoyed it, if you appreciate me putting out these live broadcasts, getting up early, getting that thumbnail made. I'm really liking the cartoon theme, at the moment that I'm sort of doing. Let me know if you like them or whether you want me to go back to the old stuff. I quite like the cartoony sort of side of things. I think it makes them stand out a bit more and pop a bit. So I hope you've enjoyed the show. If you have, please give it a like. Please subscribe if you're new. Turn those notifications on if you want to be told when we're going live every single time so you can join in our live chat. Make sure you click that little bell button and you'll be able to tune in. Thank you ever so much everyone in the group chat, in the live chat, and thank you to everyone watching on playback. Appreciate it. Go check out some of the videos I've been doing on Nicolas Pepe. Plenty of stuff for you to get in there with. I'll see you again very, very soon, and as always,